Greetings, everyone. Welcome to another Tip Tuesday. My name is Henry Arth, your product manager here at IndySoft, and today I wanted to show you a little something about batch downloading certificates, and in particular, a change that was made for 13.1 to make this a more consistent, user-friendly experience, and also something that you can control as an administrator. So I'm going to jump into first show you kind of how this translates to the end user, right? And then we're going to show how you kind of can construct these document format names for certificates in particular in your ad edit list, and then some of the other options that might come along with this down the line. What we're really talking about, there are three places where you can see this drop-down list. It's actually in Event Finder, in Equipment Finder, as well as in your order system. So let's start with the order system because it's easy to navigate to because we're already here. So what are we really talking about? It's this option here. If you right click on this and you go to print related equipment, print certificates, all equipment, it's this screen here. So previously to 13.1, you had the ability to enter some kind of value here, which was actually a merge item. So you'd have to put the exclamation marks. You'd need to kind of know what your field names were and things like that. And of course, we did automatically populate this for you and not allow you to make too many bad decisions with it. But if you were trying to push out any kind of format for a particular customer who comes in, right, in the read-only portal, or for your internal purposes to say, hey, we like this kind of format, or maybe you have a couple of them, then you really didn't have too many great options there outside of people just really needing to know exactly how to use it. So what we're talking about here is this little drop down. Essentially, it is a friendly name that you can save where you can basically say, oh, this is the company ID vendor cert number. And so when you actually upgrade to 13.1 or 14, by default, that's automatically going to be in there. So you'll have up to two different settings. One will be the most responsible one, which is what we're putting here, because those are the primary keys for the certificate table, meaning nothing can repeat there. Those are all going to be absolutely unique. Any kind of combination of that in the database. You might also have a system-wide one if you had one saved as a global variable, but for the most part, folks are just going to see this one here. So of course that's a great one, and even if you have this even if this is actually blank in the form, this is the one that's actually going to be used, whether it exists or not, because again, that's the most responsible one, and we don't want to put you in a bad spot. Yeah, that is also available from your drop down of searches. I just want to make sure for Equipment Finder and Event Finder. In Equipment Finder, you could technically press this button, print certificates, all equipment, and you would be able to see this option down here. Okay. Event Finder, it is actually a right click option after you multi-select and you want to use your calibration type events for that. So a little bit of a different concept there, but the same drop down will exist. Anyway, so for administrators, if you wanted to add another one, you can go to your Add Edit to your system-wide section under Document Formats. By the way, there is a security item if you do want to block this, so don't worry about that. And then you'll see the one that we automatically populate here, okay? So let's say I want to add a new one, and it's for a particular customer, and that particular customer wants to see maybe ID, followed by certificate, date, and certificate number. And so if we wanted to do that, we could. You would basically take this right-hand panel and you can drag and drop things in there. So the ID would technically be the certs gauges. And by the way, you have access to other tables like the events table. So if you wanted to show a particular event field that you're always populating and you know that it'll have actually something in there, then you can use it. You also have your gauges table to access here as well. So, of course, the certificate items and the event items will be particular to that moment in time, so you'll probably want to use those. Unless you really wanted to have manufacturer model number, you could still do that and add that to the actual format name here. So the description, let's just go ahead and get this one done for the sake of the video, and we'll just drag and drop it in there. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Certificate date. We'll drop that in there, and you can see we automatically put that little hyphen in there too. And then let's go with the certificate number, right? Because we're going to want that for sure. So as soon as you do that, you can press OK. So these are system-wide again, so everybody could see these. So if you were a commercial lab, you wouldn't want to put a particular company's name in here or anything like that if that's what they were using. You would just want to put, company full name or company name in there and then instruct them to use that particular kind of more generic format. So once I add that in there, as you can guess, probably if I go to any of those places where we looked at before, I can right click and I can go into the print certificates, all equipment. And now I'll be able to see that in the drop-down list. ID, certificate date, certificate number. That's a user-friendly name that somebody can choose from. And then if you're a customer or if you're somebody internally and you want to save these settings, you have the ability to do so. And now they're saved to the database. Previously, they were not saved to the database. They were saved to the registry of the local workstation. That was kind of our old school way of doing it. So we had to kind of reformat how we did all these things. So now you can save it as an admin if you want everybody to have that as their default. And you can also force these settings on all users, or you can say, hey, if somebody's already got one, I don't want to mess with them, but we want this populated for everybody else. You can say no. And then for this particular user, I can save it as well, and then I can clear system-wide settings if I'm a system administrator. So you have some pretty cool options there. If I press OK, what you're going to see is that they get moved to your downloads folder, and your downloads folder will get populated with the ID as well as a certificate date and certificate number at the end. So that's really about it. I hope you find this to be a useful feature. Certainly gets out of some custom scripting situations that might be required for particular customers, and happy calibrating. Thanks.